Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Big P here. You know, don't you? You know. 'Cause that's why you've tuned in. Today I'm joined by my good friend Terry from London. How are you doing, Terry?
No, all good. Yeah, it's just been a good week with family. Had a really good week with my mum. Enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay. Been watching any boxing?
hmm Jesus, have I? You know what? Apart from probably Ritson, that's probably the only thing I've really seen.
Did you watch Tommy Frank last night?
Now, how do you get on?
He got beat.
Easily, or was it competitive?
I thought he got beat easily, but the main furor is Phil Edwards had it to the Mexican by 5. Howard Foster had it to Tommy by 2. So there's a 7-round swing there. So and Steve Gray, but referee. We all know he can't stand Dennis, don't we, Steve Gray? So I don't know. I don't know.
But no. I think this is probably the week where we need to say Steve Gray is he's boxing's hardcore referee.
Well, he's something, isn't he? But I don't know where Tommy goes from here now, to be honest, Terry. I don't know where he goes. Because if we break things down, don't we, and analyse things. Now, Tommy's been with a trainer, Glyn Rhodes, since he was 10. So he's been with Glyn 17 years. Glyn Rhodes has never won a British title as a trainer. I'm not having a go at Glyn Rhodes, but these are facts, and we deal in facts, don't we? If it were anybody else, we'd be saying the same thing, wouldn't we? What has he won? Like Enzo Maccarinelli, what has he done as a trainer? He ain't done anything, has he? Glyn's got Sheedy and Tommy Commonwealth belts. But is the fault with the trainer, or does Tommy just not have it? What do you think?
Mate, that's a really complex question. I think we've touched on this before, right?
Mm.
You can be the right fighter with the wrong trainer. You can be the right trainer with the wrong fighter. So sometimes you need the two to line up. Now, is it that Glyn's a good trainer, but just doesn't get the right raw materials? Or is it that he's getting the right raw materials, but isn't giving them the inputs they need to get to that level? That's where it gets complex, I guess. I don't think he's a bad trainer. He knows his stuff. I think sometimes what happens is you just get into a groove. And so you do what you did last year, or you do what you did 10 years ago. You don't necessarily improve on that because you can live off your reputation. You see loads of trainers like this. Gallagher was like this for a long time. God, I hope he doesn't listen to this. But Joe Gallagher was like that for a long time. But if you look now, Joe's taken stock of all the defeats he's had and he's gone, hold on, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And you can see Joe bringing new elements into his training. I mean, he's even changed how he looks, for God's sake. So maybe Glyn needs to go and look and go, where are they falling short and why? And my suspicion with someone like a Tommy Frank is simple. He hasn't got the intensity, and a lot of British guys don't have the intensity to live with these Latin American kids. And the reason they don't is these Latin American kids, from when they're born, are combination punches. They're work rate monsters because that's how they learn to box, right? Yeah. We learn 1, 2, stop, do something else. 1, 2, stop, do something else. That's how we learn how to box. If you're a bit better, 1, 2, left hook, do something else. Those kids aren't taught like that. They're taught you are stay on your guy. And it's about really, Latin American boxing is a gas tank game. Whose fitness goes first? And so when they come over here and they put that pressure on the British guys, and they've done it, it's not just Tommy Frank, is it? It's Warrington, it's Ritson. They're all feeling it now, like this intensity and this pace. The British guys aren't ready for it.
Yeah, these Mexicans and South Americans, they're used to fighting in heat, aren't they? And they're also used to being in firefights and sparring. Do you feel that us British people, we're not pushing our fighters enough in this country, being soft with them?
So remember, Russ, it's not so much a firefight because they know exactly where they are and what they're doing. It's almost like, in football, they talk about the players who can play between the lines, right?
Yeah.
British boxing's 4-4-2. These Mexicans and these Latin Americans are your 3-1-3-3 or your 3-4-3 or your 4-3. I mean, they know how to break the lines up, and that's the difference. I think I used the expression about Jack Grealish yesterday, where I said Jack Grealish is a footballer that plays in like 8K definition, and the England team are 240p, and it's the same in boxing. Those Latin Americans are like, I mean, they're like full HD. They withstand the death in this country.
Grealish could play in any league in the world, couldn't he?
Play in any league at any time. That's what I mean about in the football sense. We don't produce kids who understand the game. Like Grealish doesn't need a coach. He can figure out the game himself. And I think these Latin American kids can just figure out a fight for themselves.
I mean, how bad has it got now when the sweaty socks are getting a point against England at Wembley? I mean, how bad are we?
Well, mate, remember, for us, it's just another game. But for those guys, it's the game of their lives. That's when they make heroes of themselves. Like those lads won't have to buy a drink for a long time now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. And that's a win for Scotland, that, isn't it? Now that's a win.
Yeah, mate. Listen, if we lose to the Czech Republic, it might be between us and the Scots, mate. Do you know what I mean? So,
do you think Scotland will go through if they win next?
Yeah, I think it depends on scores. Let's say they do. Let's say they put 2 goals on Croatia or 3. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I think it's a damned-in situation, or whatever they want to call it, that British boxing is in when our guys are getting beat by foreigners in our own country, even on points.
Okay, no. So let's look at the game. Let's look at the England-Scotland game, right?
Oh, if I were on about boxing, well, you look at England-Scotland.
Yeah. The England-Scotland game was basically a bunch of Scots who were less paid than the English lads were.
Yeah.
But every one of those Scots knew what to do with the football.
Yeah.
Right? They knew exactly what to do with that football. Give it to another guy in a blue shirt, move somewhere else. Give it. Their football culture is about possession. It's about skill. It's about all of this stuff. That's why they've got little small lads in there, like I think it's Billy Gilmore, and they've got small lads and Kieran Tierney, small lads that can play football. In English football, you've got to be, as you'd say, Russ, rough, rugged. And so that's what we get it wrong. And it's the same thing in boxing, right? Most trainers will go, right, he lost because he wasn't fit enough. Right? That's what they do. He lost because he wasn't fit enough. Okay, make him run more. Make him run up these hills. Make him do this. Make him do that. Most people get tired in a fight because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're badly educated, and that's the fault of British trainers in general. I don't think it's Joe Gallagher. I think Joe is pretty good on that. But I think a lot of these guys aren't good educators of boxers. They just get you fit, they get you strong, and that's good enough for British level usually.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's we're on his knees here with that result last night as football fans, aren't we? So let's put that aside. But as boxing fans, British kids, they're stepping up just that little bit and they're found wanting, aren't they?
Yeah. We're talking. We too many times we talk about people being world level and they're not world level.
What level's Ritson?
British plus.
British plus. Right. Well, Eddie Hearn said he was at Geordie Golovkin, and they were talking about Josh Taylor, weren't they? Not long ago. That would have been a bloodbath, wouldn't it?
Well, imagine the body shots Taylor would be landing on him. Jesus.
I know, yeah. And Ritson's a nice kid, but we have to talk boxing. Tommy Frank's a nice kid, but Tommy never did out in amateurs, and he's been wrapped in cotton wool in pros. Now, we have to get away from this. I know him and all this, and we have to talk boxing. I think Tommy Frank is finished. He's lost his last 4. We're on BoxRec, it says his last 2. But technically, people in the industry know he's been beat 4 times on trot.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Sometimes people go to BoxRec. I just go to PorkRec. PorkRec gives me the real numbers.
PorkRec.com. Now, we all know what happened outside Dennis's office when it was raining. Tommy's pulled up in his sponsored Audi. He's in front of me and sat next to Glenn. I banged up winded. How are you doing? All right. How are you doing? All right, Glenn. Yeah, all right, Porky. What did you fix at fight? Well, I thought you got beat, Tommy. Tommy's turned to Glenn, put Winder up, left me hanging in rain, so I've gone bump on Winders, put it down. And I said, look, there's going to be times where you don't win and you get the decision. Last night, they thought they won and didn't get the decision, but they didn't win. But point I want to make...
Here's something that surprises me, right? Just as an example, how many times has Tommy Frank sparred Thomas Sasomba? How many times has he sparred someone like a Jay Harris? How many times has he sparred someone like a Lucian Reed? How many times has he sparred a kid like Brad Foster? How many times has Tommy been in the ring with those kids? Well, just for sparring.
Tommy sparred Josh Whale and he got knocked about. That was a few years ago. Got knocked about.
So how are you supposed to learn? If you're not in with those guys at that level, how are you supposed to learn?
So is it Glyn Rhodes' fault for wrapping him up in cotton wool and protecting him because he says his fighters are like his babies?
I think you got to put some of the responsibility with Glenn. Yeah, I'm not going to duck that. I'll say, well, what's gone into Tommy? Has he been sparring the best kids of his generation? From what I know, he hasn't been.
No, he sparred Sonny Edwards twice.
And they live in the same city.
Yeah, sparred him twice.
They should have done hundreds of rounds together.
So does Tommy Frank's team need to have a good, hard look at themselves?
Yeah, of course, and go, how can we be better?
Right. Now, he's down to fight Kyle Youssef on the 6th of August for a British title, but they now need a win. So Dennis is going to have to get him out next month for a win to then fight in August. But Youssef's beat Tommy 3 times in amateurs. And Steffi, from what I've heard, is licking his lips at the thought of fighting Tommy. So...
Yeah, but look, it's a couple of tweaks, right? I think the problems Tommy has are the same problems Kyle Youssef will probably have. So if I'm Tommy, I'm like, why don't I try sticking some work rate on Kyle and see if he can still be the same guy?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with him, but the show as a whole last night, Reece Cartwright, 22-1, fighting a guy with a losing record. Michael Gomez, he's now 13-1. He fought a guy with a losing record. Michael Gomez has 13 wins against guys with 13 losing records. 8 fights on last night. 6 had losing record. Dennis went 8-1 last night. And there were another 3 debuts. So that's 21 debuts in the last 6 shows. What is this that's being served up? I know we both know Dennis very well on that, but is this where British boxing's heading now, Terry?
It's the scramble for talent, right? So everyone's trying to build a stable, and I think I've said it before. Fight Zone is new capital into the boxing world, right? It's new money, and why not spend it building up your stable? If Fight Zone were to become successful, you can make fights on your platform. If it goes bust, at least you've got 5 or 6 guys you can put on TV. That's where you're at right now with Fight Zone. I wouldn't, we shouldn't be expecting the big fights simply because I don't think financially it's viable yet, especially on Fight Zone.
But the Sonny Edwards, Tommy Frank world title fight, that's gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's done now. Well, for now anyway. Let's just say you never know that fight may still come back around.
I think he could pick a British up if they wait and match him and get a vacant belt against the right person, because there's only 10 people in the division, isn't there?
Yeah, the benefits of being a small guy.
Yeah, Tommy's... So take Sonny out, he's won it and he's gone to world level. So, and Tommy out of it. There's only 8 other people that Tommy can fight for a British. But I don't think they'll take the Kyle Youssef fight now. I think they'll rein him in a bit. I mean, surely they've got to rein him in, haven't they? If he's lost last 4, he's had 42 rounds and been hit more than probably in his whole career. So he's had some fisting last 4 fights. That's mileage on clock for a flyweight approaching 28, do you think?
It's just back, re-education, new ideas, new approach, see what works. Just get him out sparring his peers, man. Get him out against guys like a Somba, let him solve some real tricky problems and then see where he's at.
Dennis was talking trilogies with that Mexican, but I don't know. What do you think?
I can have a trilogy and you've lost twice.
We have to give Dennis credit though for getting it rematched for an IBF Intercontinental, but if he's lost twice, how can there be a trilogy? Because they're going to say first one an injury, second one a split decision, it warrants a third, but who'd buy into that?
Nah.
Do we have to look at Howard Foster and Phil Edwards being 7 rounds apart in a 12-round fight? I mean, what are they watching?
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the fight, so I don't know if it's one of those where you can end up that way.
Okay, then. Moving on then from Dennis's show. Joshua Fury's not happened, has it? Fury's Wilder press conference. What do you think to that?
Well, it was smart, actually. I thought Wilder played it smart. And actually, if you go back and you watch it, mate, the funny thing about that was Fury came for an argument. He came prepared for an argument. Suddenly realized that Wilder was giving him no oxygen. So then went after Malik Scott. So Malik Scott gave him no oxygen either. So it was almost like Fury was like, well, this was a waste of a suit.
Yeah.
So it paints an interesting picture now of how disciplined is Wilder going to be now, and is he actually going to show up and fight this time? Because if he does, and I keep saying this, if he wins, he's the number one guy in the heavyweight division by far.
Yeah. And another thing as well, Fury didn't look in shape, did he? When he sat down, he had a gut on him, a big gut, didn't he?
Yeah, he always does, but he remember he's a big guy, so him dropping 30 pounds won't be that hard.
Yeah. Where does this leave Anthony Joshua at the moment? Because they've not announced the Usyk fight. Why have they not announced it? Eddie said it were being announced on Friday. That was last Friday. We're now 8 days later. It's still not announced. So what's going on there? Terry, what do you think about that?
Questions, right? Where are you going to have the fight? What are the logistics behind it?
Yeah.
Are you? Jesus, are you going to be allowed to travel? This, that, and the third. I think Usyk probably wants more money for signing the rematch clause. All of that stuff comes into play. What belts are going to be on the line? Is it just the WBO? Don't know.
Yeah.
But mate, if you strip it down, it boils down to this thing, right? By August, Fury and Wilder would have fought each other 3 times. Wilder would have fought Ortiz twice, right? They're 5 big fights, right? And those 5 fights are better than anything Joshua's done. And Joshua knows
what
this.
5 fights are they? Or 3 with Fury?
2 with Ortiz.
Yeah. And Joshua's not done any, has he?
No. And they're legit fights. There's no one who can criticize those 2 fights.
Yeah. 5 fights. Is that his last 5 as well? I think it is, isn't it? Is that his last 5?
Unless there's a Brazil fight in there as well.
Well, look what he did to him. It was over in seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it took Joshua 7 rounds.
He sent Brazil into orbit. He did, didn't he? He sent him into orbit, mate. Like Povetkin sent Dylan White. Where does this leave Dylan White in all this scenario? Because he doesn't seem to be calling out Frankenstein, does he, Joe Joyce?
I think he's got table number 27 in the Who Needs Him club.
Yeah.
So there's no upside, right? So Joshua doesn't need him because you got Usyk, and then you're hoping to unify after that. If not, that's a 2-fight deal. So Joshua's next 3 fights are kind of set in stone. Wilder doesn't need him because he's got Fury, and if that goes wrong, they'll find someone like Ruiz for him to fight in America. So that leaves Dillian as being the gatekeeper now, right? So all the young guns are now looking at him going, why can't I fight him?
Yeah. Can I ask?
It's almost like he's missed his chance.
Yeah. Dillian. Oh, Dillian.
Yeah.
I said Dillian missed the boat when he knocked the Joshua fight back at Wembley, when Mark Tibbs and his team said, you should take this fight, £5 million. Then you've got the upside, could have been 5.56 million. Should have sold out 90,000. There were no pandemic. He was there for taking Joshua, wasn't he? And obviously they didn't take it. And I think that were Dylan White done. Whoever advised him then were bad. But can I just ask you, it was a bit smaller your photo last time. You've got a picture of the Kingster, Brian King, on your profile. You usually have Frotch and Andre Ward, don't you?
Listen, man, like, I just wanted to, they used to have so much joy posting pictures of me, if you remember, Russ. I just thought, hey, return the favor now that we all know each other. Looking forward to seeing them soon.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see Brian. He don't come to many shows now, does he?
Oh man, I was hoping he was one of the guys running around in Leicester Square the other day.
Now Brian will be at home in Motherwell with his 2 dogs. He lives with his mum.
Yeah, he does, man. I think he finds great comfort living there. I think it makes him happy.
So
makes him appealing to the ladies, I've heard.
You've put a picture of the Kingster on your profile, Terry. That's a proper dig, isn't it?
Look, mate, I swallowed a lot of nonsense, you know that. So I'm just like, look, keep it friendly.
Yeah, okay then. You do know Brian used to have a pod called The Next Big Pod, don't you? But it folded, didn't it?
Yeah, because people realise these podcasts aren't easy to do, mate.
No, very hard, mate. Very hard. What about Dylan White, Ergovic, Dylan White, Chris Ariola? I'm hearing that their names are being passed about.
Ariola will be a bit of an embarrassment, right? Because you're looking at I thought you wanted to fight world level guys. 40. So that's a massive step backwards for him. You may as well fight Chisora.
Is he 41, Ariola, or coming up 41, isn't he? Yeah.
40 or 41, yeah.
Yeah. So Dylan has fought more out of the top 10 guys. Dylan's fought the most over 40, hasn't he, years of age. Do you feel that that's how his career's going?
Mate, if you're advising him now, you're just like, if you can't get the big fight Chisora again.
Yeah. Do you feel that the Chisora trilogy is always going to be there?
Yeah, well, for now. Let's see what happens with Parker. Because that might be the next fight. You fight Parker.
Yeah. How do you feel, Terry, about the situation with Eddie Hearn and Sky? They've took all Eddie's stuff off the Sky website, and it now looks like there won't be a way back for him. But for a period of time, this last 6 or 7, 8 weeks, it's looked like Eddie's still had one foot in Sky, hasn't he, the Sky camp, and everybody are all happy in that. But now it appears that they have gone their separate ways. It looks to be a bit frosty because he had a bit of a dig about Sky with numbers the other day, didn't he? Saying don't.
What did he say?
He said, I've got it wrote down here. He said basically, Sky haven't been doing numbers and he's a numbers man.
Russ, 1 second. Hold on. What was that? Are you off? Okay, have a safe journey. Call me when you get home, okay? Okay? Okay, take care.
We're just seeing your mum off, Terry.
Yeah.
Good man.
You know when that happens, like I still get like a little kid when my mum leaves. I get quite emotional. Like, you go back to being 5 years old, don't you?
She not leave you a bag of bourbons?
No.
Bonbons, is it? Bonbons. Yeah. So Eddie basically said Sky haven't been doing the numbers, and he's never ever said that ever about Sky, has he?
Well, wait. But these are the numbers he stands behind. These are the numbers he used to quote to us. So what numbers is he talking about?
I don't know, but it appears that there's a bit of... I don't know, they've given a 4-year deal, haven't they? Before the 4-year deal were announced, I was told he were being kept in the dark about where it were going to be. And I've heard he were flabbergasted when he heard that Aaron were getting 6 pay-per-view dates and that they were giving that young kid Ben Shalom 14 dates. But he'll be easy to control, won't he? Whereas if it had been Dennis Hobson, Mick Hennessy, and McGuigan, they wouldn't have been able to be controlled, would they? Because the wily old cats, aren't they? Steve Wood, Steve Goodwin, them sort of guys. You see where I'm coming from?
So here's my take on the whole thing, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've talked about this numerous times. There were times where Hearn was lying about the numbers, and he was lying to keep his brand strong. So he'd say, yeah, this pay-per-view did record numbers, right? And I was, you're hearing from Sky now, we're not doing those sorts of numbers. And so Sky was saying to Hearn, we're not getting the fights on the platform because people don't want to deal with you. That's why we didn't get a lot of British versus American fights. People didn't want to deal with Hearn. And Hearn's like, it's not my fault. People don't want to be on Sky because the money's not great. Give me more money, I'll get them here, right? And then he went to DAZN. Remember when he announced that $1 billion deal? And remember, there are people in Sky who know boxing. So they're going, okay, you've got DAZN, you've got $1 billion. Let's see you sign Broner. Let's see you sign Charlo. Let's see you sign Wilder. None of them happened. So then they sit down with Eddie and they go, mate, people don't want to deal with you. And that's hurting our brand and our proposition. Mm. And then so Hearn's going, okay, here's my solution. Let Matchroom do more of it. We'll make the product better. We'll get more British fans. Then they'll want to come over. And Sky was just like, nah. No. It's our product. It's our platform. We'll control that. And then don't quote me on this, but I think someone said, remember who made you the man you are now.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it was like, oh, okay, you think you did all of this. Cool, do it without me. And Sky was like, well, we will do. And so they'll get this Ben Shalom kid, and they've learned their lesson. So they're going to get a wise old head like Johnny Wish, who's a good company man, and he's a good boxing man. And they'll get Ben to do the talking because he speaks well, and he looks youthful, and he's got the energy. And they'll try and build another Eddie Hearn that way. So, I expect the first wave of Sky cards to be horrible, right? I expect us to complain, to bitch and to moan, and they'll just build it slowly. Like, remember the early days of Hearn when you had to watch Danny Connor and Chris Evangelou, and like it was like poking your eyes out. Yeah. And I think that's what we've got for at least another year with Sky.
Yeah, you're probably right, mate. You're probably right. But the young kid, Ben Shalom, he's the youngest board-registered promoter in the country. He's going to have his work cut out, but he's basically just a fanboy. He's going to be a puppet for John Wishausen, isn't he? He's going to be easy to control, isn't he? Don't you think, no?
The guy's pretty clued up. So he will know what he wants to do, and he'll just need someone like John to make it happen. So it'll be a partnership. I think Johnny Wish's role is to sit between the promotional side and the broadcast side, because Johnny will know what will play well on TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Sky haven't had for a long time. Like you've said it before, why isn't Ed Robinson in that role of, guys, what's going to look good on TV? What fights make sense on TV?
Yeah. Well, why isn't Ed Robinson in that role? Because he don't want conflict, does he?
No. It's not even that. When you're a family man, I guess, you just want your 9 to 5. He doesn't want to be traipsing up and down the country. He quite like, because I know where Ed lives, it's an easy commute to Sky and back, right? It's not a long journey. And you can see your kids, you can spend time with your kids. He's happy, and he still gets to stay close to boxing. So I'm happy for Ed. He's got what he wanted, and good luck to him. He doesn't want to be in the limelight. He said that numerous times when I've spoken to him. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. All right then. Moving on. Billy Joe Saunders came out and did a video, and he took it down after 20-something minutes. That were last week. Then this week he's come out, he's done a video on that, and looks like he's put a bit of weight on. There's talk of him coming back fighting. Tyson Fury's come out, done an interview, and said that Billy Joe shouldn't want to go out like that. What do you think he means?
Well, think about it, right? Did we say this in our last episode? only one of two things is true. Billy fractured his eye socket. In that case, if they've operated on it, there should have been some scars or some sign of distress, right? And I know that having done my cheekbone before, like you know, it doesn't just go away after a week, right? Or the second thing is they panicked. Like I said, the corner panicked, thought he'd broken his eye socket, waved the fight off, when actually he'd just been hit really, really hard. And he just needed probably a round or two to just readjust. But Billy had never been hit like that in his whole life. So he was probably in a state of panic as well. They're the only two scenarios I can think of viable. Now, neither one of those looks good at the moment.
What about Ben Davidson's role in all this?
No one's told us, right? So was Ben the guy that told Mark Tibbs to call it off? Was Mark the guy who told Ben I'm calling it off and Ben said no? I don't know what was happening in that corner. They're the questions we need answered, and no one's answering them.
Silence, innit?
But the problem is, Billy's revealed, like, he's not even wearing the sunglasses anymore. He's given up trying to pretend. The cold, hard reality of that fight is simple. He didn't fracture his eye socket.
Mm.
That's the conclusion we all draw. He didn't fracture his eye socket, and that's always going to hang over his career. So Fury's right. Do you really want to be known as a guy who thought he broke his eye socket and didn't, and then quit in the biggest fight of his career? Nah, you don't want to be known as that.
No. Fury's more or less saying he's got to come back, hasn't he? Now, if his eye socket ain't damaged, he will come back. If it were damaged, maybe he won't come back. I personally think he'll be back. I think he's got the loss now. He's not be bothered. He'll be back for more crumbs off the plate.
And he'll be back to fight anyone now, right? He'll just say, okay, put me in with Golovkin now.
Yeah,
I'll fight Golovkin now.
That's the biggest.
Put me in with Eubank. I'll fight him now.
But Golovkin would be 160, wouldn't it?
They'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, 164 or something,
yeah.
Okay. Anthony Yard against Lyndon Arthur. Where do you see Anthony Yard's career going now?
This is tricky because Yard has the Kovalev loss, which we can live with. The Lyndon Arthur loss, which is a bit of a surprise. If Arthur were to beat him again, I think you've got to take the jetpack off Yard and put it onto Lyndon Arthur. I think that's the right thing to do. And then I don't know what you do with Yard after that. I genuinely don't. I think that's when you've got to put him in with the Craig Richardses and the Joshua Boatis of this world.
Yeah. Do you see Callum Johnson fighting Yard or Arthur?
I see him fighting Joe Smith Jr. And then what happens after that, I don't know. Probably fighting a British guy. That's Frank's normal model, isn't it?
Yeah. You feel that Callum Johnson is probably the best light heavyweight in Europe at the moment?
Best light heavyweight in Europe? I think Craig Richards beats him now.
You think Craig Richards beats Callum Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have a bet with you on that one, 50 quid.
Okay. I don't have any doubt in my mind Craig Richards would beat Callum Johnson.
No.
I think 2 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. Now, yeah. Like think about Craig Richards' career right now. He's never been hurt. You've never seen him wobbled. You haven't seen him dropped. He has not been hurt.
Who's training him? Is it
Peter Sims?
Peter Sims, yeah, Sims. So I'm going to say Tony Sims, but it's his brother, isn't it? Peter Sims.
Yeah.
And the other one I get mixed up with Lerone Richards. He's with Penfold, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see anything with Joshua Boatsy about who he's fighting next? He's fighting that guy that won that tournament?
Bolotniks.
Oh, beat Jose Burton.
Yeah, the fight doesn't make sense to me because for the last 3 years we've been told this guy's the real deal. He's world level.
He's and Andre Ward.
Yeah, and now look at him, right? Look at that 2016 class. Shakur Stevenson, world champion. Teofimo Lopez, I think he boxed for Honduras, world champion. Well, probably undisputed at lightweight. All of that generation of kids from the 2016 Olympics, Okoli, they've all left him behind. But if you remember, he was the guy with the most upside after the Olympics.
Oh, Boatsy.
Yeah, after the Olympics, we thought that was the guy to put your money in, right? So what's gone wrong?
Bad advice.
Bad advice, bad training. And I say to people, those early years of your career, the trainer you choose is so important because that's going to determine how far you go in the pro game.
Yeah. And who did he choose Boatsy when he turned pro?
Stayed with his amateur coach, Mark Gillespie. I think he did some work with McCracken, but it was Mark Gillespie was like the trainer of record.
Do you think Boatsy's behind the pack now?
Well, yeah, he's had that same belt for how long, Russ?
Do you think Boatsy Yards are quite an intriguing fight now?
Today, yeah. But let's see what happens, by the end of the year.
Yeah. Do you feel that 258 management are making schoolboy errors?
Well, no, because it was Joshua who said it's time for Joshua Boatsy to step up.
Yeah.
So it's not their problem. So I don't think they've got the issue. I think they will make any fight that makes, they'll make any fight for Boatsy, right? Because if it's an expensive fight, you do it on a Joshua undercard. So they can make any fight happen. So the question is, why haven't these fights happened?
What about Campbell Hatton? Where do you see him going?
I'll say it every time. I'm going to give that kid 2 years. Let me see where he is after 2 years.
Yeah. It's a lot of hype, isn't it?
But that's the Hearn model, right?
Yeah.
Create loads of hype, loads of content around the fighters, turn them into ticket sellers, turn them into attractions, and then the boxing comes after.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. Let me have a think. What do you think to Saul Alvarez and DAZN? What do you think that? Do you see that lasting, Terry?
No, and I'll explain why. Mayweather did 1 million pay-per-view buys on Showtime at $60.
Yeah.
Right. DAZN are paying Canelo 35 mil. So imagine you're Canelo, you're saying, if I fight Charlo, that can do 1 million pay-per-view buys if we promote it properly. So why would I do that on DAZN unless they could match me for that kind of income?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean, Russ? So there's going to come a point where DAZN doesn't work for Canelo.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work for Joshua.
Do you think Joshua's staying put with Sky?
Well, I don't see how DAZN can pay him more than Sky can pay him.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see him going to Showtime in America, but still having the Sky relationship. Or I could see him going over to ESPN, Top Rank. I could see him working with an American broadcaster that's not DAZN. Put it that way.
Yeah. Exciting,
because look,
exciting times ahead.
Well, okay, so think about Joshua. Joshua's been there for ages going, yeah, Fury doesn't generate any money. But now you look at Fury's purses, right? Fury's doing 30 million a fight. And Joshua's like, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. How can these guys be earning what I'm earning when I put all of this work in? Like someone's dropped the ball somewhere. And also that Floyd link up. If he goes to Showtime, you get that Mayweather link up. If he starts working with Al Heyman, it's that Mayweather link up. And then that's almost like an official co-signing of Anthony Joshua in America.
Yeah. 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 I see where you're coming from. Where does all this leave Callum Smith then with Eddie Hearn and DAZN and Sky? Is he out in cold now? Because he's not with Gallagher now, is he, Joe Gallagher?
No, because I heard he was training with Manny Robles out in the States. I think that's a backward step. I don't think Manny Robles has anything that Joe Gallagher doesn't. Because I didn't really understand that. I know he's gone with Paul Reddy from a management perspective. Yeah. So what do you do with Callum? You bring him in at 175 and you go, okay, who can we pick off at 175? Could he do a Spider Richards fight at 175? Could you put him in with who's got the belt? Badu, Jack Roy, Jean Pascal. Can you put Callum Smith in with those guys and make some money off that?
Do you feel that if you want loyalty, get a dog kind of thing, you know, with him and Joe, because what him and Joe did together, they won everything, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think the problem you have essentially is Joe trained 4 brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would have seen what Canelo did to Liam, and you're like, how can Canelo do the same thing to me that he did to my older brother? We should have learned from that. We didn't really have a plan to combat Canelo. So maybe that's what they thought. And they thought, maybe Joe can't deliver at world level, which I think is kind of unfair, because I think Joe's taken a lot of average raw materials and made world champions out of them.
Crawler.
Yeah, Crawler. I think Liam Smith is average raw material. I think Paul Smith was average raw material. Callum Smith slightly above average raw material. I mean, Joe's done a lot, man. Like it's taken me a few years to understand that myself, to go, yeah, actually, you know what? Joe hasn't been given
credit,
any freakish athletes. I mean, he's never had a Joshua type guy, you know, an Anthony Yarde. You know, those raw natural athletes that have that like 10 out of 10 power, 10 out of 10 speed.
His body of work's fantastic though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like Simply Red, isn't he? Like, I don't listen to Simply Red that often, but I know Mick Hucknall's not short of a bobble too.
Joe's not short. He's driving around in a 4-wheel drive Porsche, brand new.
And that's what I mean. Like, see, you may not be a fan of Joe Gallagher, but you're there going, I don't think he's short of a bobble too, because he must have done something the right way. And it's the same with Simply Red. No idea how Mick Hucknall's a millionaire, but he must be doing something right.
Well, Mick Hucknall's not best looking bloke in the world, is he? But he can sing, can't he? Joe's not a male model, but he can train fighters, can't he? Okay then. We've spoke about most topics. Hughie Fury and Savannah, do they get enough credit? And if not, is it because they're very quiet behind the scenes?
Well, that's because they haven't given us the fights we want. So I think they're really talented. I think Hughie's great, like, in a lot of ways. But Hughie hasn't given us the fights we want to see. Now, if I'm Hughie, or actually if I'm Peter, I'm saying, give us Tony Yoka, give us Hrgovic. These are guys who are Hughie's age, right?
Yeah.
Let Hughie show he's the best of his generation. Don't worry about world titles for now. Deal with these guys, and then you become top of that pack, and then fight someone like a Dillian.
If Hughie fought Hrgovic or Yoka and won, he would be catapulted to superstardom level, wouldn't
he? Yep.
Instead of fighting guys who really are just tick overs. Because do you think there's too many tick overs at this level? Like Dillian's been ticking over forever, hasn't he? But he has, hasn't he? Since Joshua beat him, he's been ticking over.
Yeah, I think Hughie's different because Hughie's risk came from the fact that he took on serious fights when he was young. So I can understand having a couple of fights now to let the body heal up and kind of mature. But I think from this point on, you've got to have a plan. Okay, now who is he going to fight? When and how? Let's get it moving before these guys like Fabio Wardley catch him up.
Yeah. I don't think Fabio Wardley beats Hughie.
But he's catching him up. We can't dispute that. You see what I mean? Yeah. That gap's closing to the point where it won't sound so crazy to call for that fight. But 2 years ago, you never thought of those two fighting each other.
What do you think about the White Rhino on IFL last few days with Coogan? And he's ended up doing an interview with Babic, and they're going to get it on. What do you think to that? Do you think Dave should hang him up, or I don't know? What do you think?
Dave can't help himself, can he? Do you remember when he retired? And then he's like, I'm with Dennis now. I just want to fight on small hall shows. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And now we're back to I want to fight Hrgovic. Mate.
Babic.
Sorry, Babic. Mate, I'm just along for the ride. good luck to Dave. Whatever Dave wants to do, it's not for me to tell him to do or not to do it. I'm just along for the ride. Let's see where it goes.
Do you feel that sometimes Dave digs himself in an hole and then has to come out and get a spade and dig himself out of it?
Yeah, but that's kind of the problem with the media, because they always go to Dave at his most vulnerable because they know they're going to get good content, and he gives it to them and he paints himself into that corner.
Yeah. Do you feel that Dave will never get over the fact that he knocked 250 grand down to fight Dubois, asking for 350? You know, the total package with tickets and that. Do you feel that he'll never get over that?
Dave's still in a position he could earn that money. Look at David Price. David Price ended up in a position to earn that money, right?
Do you feel that Dennis can bring Dave back?
Yeah. I'll you know me, I'll always be pro Den, and I'll always want Den to succeed. And if he can make something out of Dave, fair play to him. But the problem Den's got is, you got Dave, you got Cash Ali. These two are going to have to fight. You can't send them in different directions now. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, I see that. Okie dokie then. Well, thanks for coming on, Terry. It's been fantastic. Hope you have a good weekend. Are you watching any?
Yeah, what have you got planned?
I've got another interview to do now, and I've got some paperwork to do here, invoices, which is a nightmare. I'll see if I can fiddle a few of them.
Oh man, look how corporate Russ has become now, man.
You're
so corporate now.
And that's so corporate. I don't know about
that. I'm waiting for you to do your interviews in a suit. Like, I can see that next year you'll be doing all these interviews in a suit.
You know, that suit I paid $1,000 for, I've had it tuck in, and they can't take it in anymore. And I still look like Brutal Fox when he went to his trial. Do you remember him, Brutal Fox?
Oh, Brutal Fox, yeah.
He had a trial. He looked like a man. He'd gone from being that wide to that wide, and he had the suit on from when he had a 60-inch chest, and he was at Doc. I remember seeing it in Flex magazine. Him in Doc. I thought, I feel like him in my suit.
We're gonna have to stop calling you Porky, man. We have to stop calling you like Grasshopper.
Yeah, or Mini Porky.
Or Pepperami.
Pepperami, that's a good one, yeah. Spicy pork. All right, then. Well, listen, you take care, Terry.
All right, mate.
Thank you for coming on. Right. Have a good weekend.
No worries, mate. Take care,
bye.
Mate. Bye.
That was Terry from London, born in Zimbabwe, big banker in London. Does seminars, did one in Leeds. I picked him up from it. Very bright kid. Boxing coach at Fitzroy Lodge. Very opinionated, puts things a little bit different to me, puts big words into sentences and different to me, whereas me, I just attack, don't I? First line of defense is attack. So, okie dokie. So today we've rinsed Dennis's show last night. That video's out. That's on our members area, I think. It's out my decision. It's out my hands where that video goes, but I think they're putting that on members. And the Mickey Fio video, that's to go out as well. So I'm to do that later on. So 11:20. I'll upload this. I think I'm going to do a Bertle Fox back workout. Get something done. Get some graft done. Those big grafters. So that's about it. So peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep sporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. And don't forget to hit the like button below and subscribe to our members area if you haven't already. If you have, big respect. Big respect. That's about it. Don't forget to leave a comment and like and subscribe. And share the video on WhatsApp amongst your pals. And let's get everybody on the Porky Express train. All right? Peace out.